Yes, sir. We're good. Don't sit down, stand up, get some exercise, get some blood circulation.
Not that I know of, they said they didn't think so. Or as soon as they find out the county vehicles are paying for it.
Good morning. We want to welcome you this morning to this Drainage District, Hidalgo County Drainage District Board meeting for today, April the 29th, 2014. President Dar, Commissioner Cuellar, Precinct 1, Palacios, Precinct 2, Palacios, Precinct 4, and myself, we have a quorum. Mr. Garza?
So I don't know if anybody signed up on the open forum. No, no, sir.
No, I'm sorry, no, I was given a list. There's no open forum.
Oh, okay, no problem, sir.
Number 3, our consent agenda.
There are no concerns, Judge.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 4.
Under 4A, requesting approval to accept bids and approval to award construction contract to lowest bidder meeting all specification requirements for RFB number HCDD1 14-011-04-16, Precinct 4, North Seminary Drainage, to Rojas Construction and Paving for an amount of $351,523.80. We had 8 bidders, Judge. If you'd like for me to read the 8 bidders.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Under item B, requesting approval to accept bid and approval to award construction contract to lowest bidder meeting all specification requirements for RFB number HCDD1 13-0210-925A, FM 495 Drain Trenton Road Field Crossing to GPC Construction, Inc. for an amount of $176,156.50. We had 7 bidders on that particular project, Judge, Commissioners.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Under item C, requesting approval to accept bids and approval to award construction contract to lowest bidder meeting all specification requirements for RFB number HCDD1 13-0220925B, FM 495 Drain, Wisconsin Road Field Crossing to Rojas Construction and Paving in the amount of $201,326.50. On that particular one, I think we had 7 bidders on that one. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, sir, 7 bidders on there also.
Good bidder, responsible bidder and everything.
Sir?
Is that a good responsible bidder?
Yes, sir. We've got the letter of recommendation from the engineer and doing his due diligence to verify on the construction.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item D, requesting approval to advertise for RFB number HCDD1 14-0080319, Precinct 2, Alamo Expressway Drain. This is one of the pump structures going into the floodway system. We're ready to begin the advertisement on that one.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Under item E, request approval of supplemental agreement number 1, the professional agreement for Precinct 4 Rural Drainage, Rural Development Project, Hohen Road, Bandera Area Drainage Improvements. This is just the adding of the subcontractors to the contract mechanism. There's no dollars involved at this time.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Under item 5, discussion and approval of acceptance to counteroffers as it relates to the J09 drainage project land acquisition of parcels 52, 56, 58, and 59. These were the items that were brought for the board's consideration last week. We have them on the agenda for acquisition. Under parcel 52, the value or the accepted value is $16,936.50. Under parcel 56, the total cost is $92,834.70. And under parcel 58 and 59, the cost is $55,000.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Under item 6A, request approval of application for payment number 1 in the amount of $4,950 from Texas Concordia Construction LLC as it relates to contract number 13-030-0107, Edinburgh Wastewater Treatment Plant Effluent Line and Crossing. The payment request has been approved and signed off by the engineer.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B, request approval of invoice number 5 in the amount of $39,235 from FJW Construction LLC as it relates to contract number 13-016-0510, mile 17 and a half, road improvements. That is basically the construction of the siphon with the school districts.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Under item 7, request approval of payment number 1 in the amount of $158,238.90 for FJW Construction LC related to contract number HCDD1 13023 11-19C-J09 Drain Improvements Phase 1 Construction from Agreement for Professional Services for the Master Drain System Phase 2 for the design and expansion of the lateral drain system approved by Board of Directors 3/23/2004. Basically, is a payment for the project itself, construction.
Move for approval.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge Commissioners, we do have an item under real estate for the board's consideration.
One item.
An executive session. Yes, sir.
At this time, pursuant to 551-071 and 072, I will need a motion to proceed to executive session.
So move.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. It's
Let's see the
9:18, will be an executive session.
And student council.
Morning. Okay, we're back in open session. Mr. Garza?
Judge, Commissioners, we will proceed as directed under executive session on real estate issues.
Anything else?
No, sir, that's it for the
Need a
board.
motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Judge.
Thank you, sir. At this time, we're going to be convening the regular meeting of the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court set for today, April the 29th, 2014. The entire court being present, we have a quorum. Please join us in our Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Father in heaven, we thank you for this day. We ask you to give us more days in our lives and what we have to do to accomplish things. Dear Lord, it seems like we're never thankful enough, but we do need rain all over the nation, not just here. And we know you're the one that sends rain, so we ask you, dear Lord, please bless us with rain. We ask you to bless our country, bless our families, bless these children that are here, who work to have a good start in school. We ask you to bless our judge and our commissioners, help them as they make decisions that affect all of us. And we thank you for all your blessings, dear Lord. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen.
Amen.
Amen. All right, under our consent agenda,
Judge,
Mr.
I would
Garza.
like to ask that consent agenda item 7A be pulled for discussion.
7A.
7A, yes.
Move
Aye.
for approval, except 7A.
Second.
those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Now, 7A is,
Judge, 7A is the agenda item reads as follows. Request approval of payment number 1 in the amount of, I'm sorry. I'm reading the wrong agenda.
Voice.
Membership dues.
I was reading the drainage, but,
you're talking about membership dues. on
yeah,
7A.
membership dues, yes, Judge. And that's the one for approval to pay Hidalgo County membership dues with authority for county treasurer to issue checks to U.S.-Mexico Border Counties Coalition, $11,314.08. And the issue is that this invoice is for the period of July 1st, 2013 to June 30th, 2014. So the period is almost over, and we're now paying the invoice.
And last year, how was it done last year?
Last year, we didn't pay the membership.
We didn't?
We did not. And so pretty soon, we're going to end up having to pay another membership due. Because,
Well, do we owe it? I think that's really the question.
well, if we did, it's already almost after the fact, Judge, so I'm not sure we received any benefit from this membership. And we did not.
Have we
and-
ever paid for this membership at all? The year before? the year before that?
Not, last year, we didn't pay. The year before, it was paid.
Okay, who was responsible for not paying this?
Well, we paid once we get an invoice. Last year, we didn't get an invoice. The year before, in 2011, I believe we got an invoice.
Who's in charge of this Valde again?
Balde, under executive.
Well, this is
Balde.
for the county commissioners. So I guess Balde would be
Balde.
responsible for it.
Yes, sir.
What's the problem with this, Valde?
This is an issue that we've had with the association or this coalition. They work on a fiscal year, and so they invoice us whenever they invoice us. Okay, so, but the fact of the matter is that we do participate. Mr. Fraser is correct. I don't remember us paying the prior year.
But the year before, I think it's 2 years ago, we paid them,
Right,
not last year.
right. We
Yeah.
just,
So
there
this
is
is
for
for last
whatever
year's
reason.
bill, right?
Yeah, 2013.
Well, 2013, but in 2012, we did not pay it. We paid it in 2011. So in 2012, there was no
That's what I'm saying.
payment.
I don't know why there's that 1-year gap.
But the issue now is that the period is almost over. And I'm not sure we received any benefit that we owe that amount to this coalition.
Who owns this coalition? What is it, nonprofit or what, Judge?
Bobby, I don't know, I thought I saw Bobby here.
Judge, Commissioners,
Sergio, would you call Bobby, please? He's out right outside. Now, what's the name of this organization?
U.S.-Mexico Border Counties Coalition.
Bobby, can you come forward, please? There's an organization, U.S.-Mexico Border County Coalition. Are you familiar with that one?
Is that the T-BIC or which one's that one?
U.S.-Mexico Border County Coalition.
I'm not familiar with that. What's the question?
And now I thought you might be familiar with what it does.
Valdez both know about it.
Judge, Commissioners, let me recommend a no action. Let me call them up. Let me find out their cycle and our participation in this, so I can talk to Mr. Valdez, whether there was any participation on our part during their last fiscal year.
All right.
Yeah, that's the main question, whether we have received any benefit from the membership.
Yeah, if I remember, I attended a couple meetings last year. This border coalition had looked at issues on border crossings. They looked at issues dealing with the river, the Rio Grande River, and I know I attended a session in San Antonio a year ago, but I know it's a group of counties, leaders,
Right.
mayors along the border county from the Rio Grande Valley all the way to El Paso, but that's all I know about them.
All
Can you
right.
follow up on that? and then
I will.
bring it
and
up?
Then no action
No
this
action for
week.
today, please.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to be taking an item out of order and looking at our agenda item 20A.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. With us here today, we have school counselor and student council sponsor, Christina Lynch. We also have student council sponsor, Ms. Pat Castillo, and GT teacher, Ms. Hurtado, and they're going to speak for the elementary school students that we have here today.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right.
We're here today. We're from Ruben C. Rodriguez Elementary in Ed Couch. My name is Christina Lynch. I'm the school counselor there and also the student council advisor. And we're here today because we are observing National Student Leadership Week, which is this week. And we wanted to just offer an experience to our students to be able to come over to Commissioner's Court, introduce them to influential leaders and community members as yourselves. And hopefully we will also be getting a tour of the courthouse. The students will be sitting in a hearing, and we're also going to be taking a tour of the district clerk's office. So they're very excited to be here today, and we want to thank you for allowing us to come over and visit with you this morning. And I have two of our student council officers with me, Nicole Rodriguez and Jordan Bravo. And if you don't mind, they have a couple of questions that they would like to ask you leaders.
My first question is, what recent projects are you working on?
What precinct project?
Recent projects.
Recent projects.
Precinct project?
I know that we're working, go ahead, Commissioner. It's your
Yeah,
question.
we have several projects that we're working in your area. We're working on the mile 16, which is at where the Walmart, the new Walmart is going on. And we're going to pave that in a couple of sections. We're going to go from Highway 88 and go to mile 4. And then the second phase is going to go from mile 4 to 1015.
Great.
One of the major projects that is coming up, you're familiar with Delta Lake?
Yes.
Well, we're going to have something similar just in La Villa, just north of where the high school is. There's going to be a big lake that hopefully will be created to store water so that we can, in the future, have an abundant supply of water. But it's going to be located in the Delta area.
Okay, thank you. I have one more question. What do you have to do to become a commissioner?
I want to let one of the 4 commissioners tell you.
Dale, Joseph. You gotta win the election. Go ahead, Joseph.
Well, obviously, you have to run for the office, and there are some eligibility standards. You have to be a resident of the county and a district that you live in. There are 4 precincts in the county of Hidalgo. Each one of the individuals run within that district, and it's headed by the county judge, who runs throughout the entire county of Hidalgo.
Okay, thank you.
Do you know who your
Commissioner?
namesake is, Ruben Rodriguez, or was?
Do you know who Ruben Rodriguez was?
You know, can you tell us a little bit about Mr. Rodriguez? Obviously, he must have been a very important man to have a school named after him.
He ran for
He-
school board, and he did a lot for our school, and they named the school after him.
What cities do you take care of?
Repeat that?
She said, what cities do you take care of? What cities are you
The county
responsible?
judge or the county commissioner's court? Because we have 21 cities in a county. Between La Villa and Sullivan City, there's 21 of them. And anything located within the county is within our jurisdiction, but mainly we deal with the rural areas outside those 21 cities.
The precinct, precinct 1, which you all belong to, is 9 cities and 8 school districts that we take care of.
What do you do for the cities?
What do you do for these cities? What are your responsibilities? That's what she's asking.
You want me to answer that? Our job as county leaders is to assist cities with pretty much everything that's going on. And being a city resident, you're also a county resident, so it's our job to work with cities on a lot of the public needs of the area. A lot of cooperative deals. We help them bring businesses to the local cities, and we help the development grow. All the infrastructure from roads to drainage and parks and all.
Thank you. Before we go, we would like to get a group picture
Certainly.
for our own school website,
Okay.
if you don't mind.
And let them wave to the camera there. There you
And
go.
I want to thank you, Ms. Lynch and all the kids. Thank you very much for coming in today, and I hope you all have a good tour of the courthouse.
Thank you, and thank you so much for allowing us to be here this morning.
Yes, ma'am.
Might want to come a little closer.
Some of them need to kneel down.
Yeah. You'll kneel some of them in the front.
In the front, kneel them down.
28.
All right, let's move on to 20B. Raul, or who's going to make
Raul.
that presentation?
Danny?
Good morning, Judge Commissioners. I'm going to go ahead and let Hugo Colon from Building Communities Workshop take over on some of the work that we've been doing in colonias and drainage. So, we're going to have Doña Mari. Oh, we'll have Doña Mari go first. Sorry.
Ya, María. Buenos días, mi nombre es María Gómez, voluntaria de Lupe,
Buenos
y
días.
todavía me da gusto verlos
Buenos días.
que todavía siguen trabajando para nosotros. Gracias.
Well, good morning, Judge, Commissioners, and everyone. As Danny said, I'm Hugo Colon. I'm a landscape architect and community planner for Building Community Workshop. And I'm going to talk a little bit about building power in colonias through low-impact development. Briefly, Building Community Workshop is a nonprofit community design center based in Dallas, but with offices in Brownsville. And our work with the colonias is a partnership with Lupe, Arise, the CDC Brownsville, and it's funded mainly by the Ford Foundation. So we all know that colonias have different challenges, including drainage. Many colonias were built in flood-prone areas, as you can see in this map, where we correlate the colonias and the flood-prone areas designated by FEMA. In extreme events, we see scenarios like this in Green Valley Farms, where we can see the extent of the problem in colonias. You all are familiarized with this problem, the colonias. So we're trying to answer some questions about how we can address drainage in a multifunctional way that benefits the residents, the county, and the environment. So we think our project is driven by three aspects, as you can see: education, political outreach, and inclusive design. This allows residents to empower and advocate for drainage systems that best fit their needs while addressing other problems like lack of open space, lack of other gathering spaces. So education for us is a very, very important, it's the main base of our project, which is to educate people about the regional, county, and local drainage systems. This is very important because first it gives them the knowledge of how these systems work in a basic way, and the regional, county, and colonial drainage, as said, but also it gives them the tools and it raises awareness of the importance of maintaining drainage. What does it mean to maintain the drainage ditch in the back of our home, or the drainage ditch in the street, etc.? What does that mean in terms of regional drainage, and what problems does that address? But also it helps us as designers, because we integrate colonial residents to the design process. We are able to meet with them, and they are able to understand what the things we're talking about, and it's a challenge because we have to talk about these things in a more common day language to express our ideas. Some of the tools we use at the office, and we are engaging the residents, is diagrams and maps. So we try to explain residents at the colonias how water moves, how topography works, why does the valley floods, etc. We also prepare maps as this one for the regional drainage systems, where we say, well, the drainage system is not only the ditch in front of your house, but it's a bigger system that works, and explain things like the Presa Falcón upstream, or all the drainage ditches around the counties. At the county level, we're able to explain to residents, so what does these canals mean? I mean, what does it mean that water flows from your house all the way through Cameron or Willacy counties, all the way to Laguna Madre? So we developed these maps and diagrams that explain the residents and others the importance of drainage and how does it work. Our second element in our project is political outreach. We have been able to work with commissioners, and we have met with Commissioner Cuellar, representatives of Precinct 4, 2, with the drainage district. We've been able to meet, and it can be a challenge to get everyone in the same page, how to integrate, how to meet with everyone, the county officials, community leaders, organizations, engineers, etc. And how can we work together in developing these drainage strategies that not only alleviate the pressures of drainage and flooding, but also how can we improve the quality of life in colonias and other regions in the rural areas within the counties. So we think that through inclusive design, we engage the community in the process of design and talk about these things, not only the challenges within the valley, but also what strategies can be used as an opportunity or to address the problems of drainage. Like low impact development, very simple things like diagrams like this from the design manuals of urban areas from the University of Arkansas. And we tried to explain how can we capture water in a rain barrel. What does that mean to capture some water? How do you reduce the amount of water that goes to the regional system? Or what does it mean to have a rain garden or an area where water can be accumulated while it waits to be driven to the regional drainage systems? So things like this, we talk with the residents, and I'm going to talk about one example. We've been working with 3 colonias so far, Lucero del Norte and Spanish Palms in West Laco Mercedes, and we recently started working with Linda Vista Estates in Precinct 3. So I'm going to talk about Spanish Palms, where we have completed a drainage plan. And Spanish Palms, as many of you may know, has very important drainage challenges. So this is Spanish Palms Drive, where it gets flooded in a regular rain event. And trying to understand that our process brings the community, and we are able to engage with them, as you can see in this image, where we're meeting with the families and trying to understand where would this water accumulate in your property. Can you draw or help us understand how does this work? And we develop with them something like this, which is not scientific or is very basic, but it gives us an idea of where does water flow, where does water accumulate, and start thinking about what strategies can be implemented and what can we do to address drainage within these colonias, in this case, Spanish Palms. So in this colonia, you can see that water accumulates in the back of the colonia and most of the insides of the interior lots of the colonia. There are some drainage ditches in the north and in the south. You can see here in the plat. However, some of these have been filled or are non-existent. This is where education comes back in place, because we say, well, you have to be careful not to fill your ditch in your property, because that means that water cannot be accumulated there and you'll be having problems that your street gets flooded, etc. So here, the darker blue are the drainage ditches are affected or non-existent, and this one here in the bottom is the only ditch that is well maintained because it's within the right-of-way of the county. So those blockage of swells produce problems like this, where you have properties that flood like this. And in extreme scenarios, water is about 2-3 feet deep. And this resident, for example, she needs to get out of this house with the aid of neighbors because she's in a wheelchair, so she cannot go out of her house because water is blocking her way out. Or you have other problems like sedimentation and erosion, where you have problems like there is not enough vegetation or sediments and dirt is not controlled. And that produces a problem of blockage of the system. Other residents have been able to fill their lands to control the flooding, but this might help them within their problem, but it doesn't allow water to move in a controlled way, so you get other neighbors that are not able to fill their lands, and they have a problem now because the water goes to their property and fills and floods their property. So understanding these problems with the Colonia, we go design some options with all the input of the Colonia. Then we come back and explain these options. So in Spanish Palms, for example, we developed these plans where we went through 3 options between having the right-of-way of the street remain as it is to what we developed here that was like, well, do we need a 28-feet driveway road that is paved to have car traffic? Do we need that in this small area, small community that doesn't have that much of traffic? So we engage in these conversations and we say, well, what if you have narrower streets and be able to have more space for drainage in the site? So that's why we were able to talk with the resident and they say, well, we could have narrower streets, in this case, an 18-foot street with 1 foot of gravel strip in the sites, which we know that the county subdivision rules, the model subdivision rules don't allow. But we need to start thinking about, do we need these subdivision rules to be like this? Do we need 28 feet for colonias like this or subdivisions like this? Is there enough traffic or so much traffic that we cannot have like an 18-foot driveway? But in this case, we developed this plan and provided drainage swales along the Spanish Palms Drive where would connect to a proposed outfall by the president and county in the FM 1015. This is a proposed outfall here, but the thing is that the water within the Colonia has not been addressed to take it out from the Colonia to that proposed outfall that drains to the south. And this outfall is super important to be able to take the water out. But then after this is implemented, the outfall in the FM 15, we need to address the water within Spanish Palms and take it out, or at least have some controlled spaces where we can accumulate that water that is not blocking people's entrances, driveways, or the way out to the Colonia. So in this case, we proposed to making drainage infrastructure not as a problem. We have to start looking at it as more of an asset of the communities. What we can add to the community that is not only drainage, yeah, so we have drainage swales, but we also deal with things like native vegetation that add color, that add a better quality of life within the Colonia. We added sidewalk, so we take advantage of that effort of adding drainage infrastructure, but we added a sidewalk which is very simple. It's an addition to the Colonia. It's an asset where some of the residents can walk safely around the Colonia, and that was added just because we did the improvements for drainage. But we think about how to layer these levels of uses. So we have drainage, we have open space, we have sidewalks, we have traffic calming because we narrowed the street width, so cars drive slower. So it's how to look at drainage as an opportunity instead of a problem. Thank you. Well, sorry, I would like to add, at the end of the process, we like to give the residents something, and we developed these booklets which addresses the 3 scales of education, community engagement and design, which is this pamphlet. And the whole thing is our outreach piece where it serves as a tool for residents to advocate for drainage systems for them, but it also serves for commissioners, engineers as a base, a plan already designed proposal for future drainage improvement plans within colonias. So I have a copy of this if you would like to have to look at it. But it's part of the projects we've been working with Lupe, Arise, and other community organizations throughout the valley. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next item is 22A. Good morning.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Mary Gonzalez with Precinct 4, Administrative Assistant 4. I'm here to present item 22A on behalf of Commissioner Joseph Palacios, approval of resolution in honor of Cassandra Sanchez. Ms. Sanchez and her parents, Maria de los Angeles and Andres Sanchez, are present. And with your permission, I would like to
Morning.
proceed and read the resolution.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. Resolution in honor of Cassandra Sanchez. Whereas Cassandra Sanchez, 18, was born and raised in Edinburgh, Texas, and is a senior at Edinburgh North High School, she was recently named Best Swimmer in History of ECISD and has been awarded a full scholarship to the University of Arkansas at Little Rock, where she plans to pursue a degree in education and eventually become a teacher. And whereas Ms. Sanchez, swimming since the age of 6, has earned over 50 medals in her swimming career, has also contributed to the community by working as a lifeguard for the past 2 years at the City of Edinburgh Parks and Recreation Center. And whereas Ms. Sanchez has been part of numerous organizations, Future Farmers of America being the most recent, where she served for 1 year, has successfully been able to earn college credits through South Texas College in McAllen, Texas. And whereas through her committed efforts, Cassandra Sanchez has distinguished herself as a vital and valued member of the community. Her remarkable accomplishments as a young lady point to an even brighter future, and it is indeed fitting at this time to honor her for her achievements. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court hereby recognizes and honors Cassandra Sanchez for her selection as the best swimmer in history of ECISD. Approved this 29th day of April 2014.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes unanimously.
Congratulations.
Thank you for acknowledging me and taking the time out of your day to.
Oh, congratulations.
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 Thank you, and good luck to you. All right, let's move back to item number 5, open forum. First presenter is Opal Billman.
Good morning. My name is Opal Billman. When community property is submitted to the court for a fair and just divorce settlement between the owners, the court has authority over and responsibility to their management of property they do not and cannot in a divorce process own. The law is that community property must be returned to the owners by the court. The court has no legal authority to keep the community property and sell it. The court has the authority to award a fair division of the community property to the owners and return it. That's the court's only job. The court has the responsibility to prevent any interference of ownership by unethical entrepreneurs while the community property is tied up in court, and the court is responsible to see that the community property remains owned by and returned to the owners that submitted it to the court for a fair division between the two of them. Until I experienced this court action, if someone had told me about it, I would not have believed them. I've never heard of the court taking and keeping all of the community property as if they owned it in a divorce settlement. Joe was awarded none of our community property. I was awarded none of our community property. The court took all of our community property and the income it is producing and refuses to return it to us. The laws to be upheld and followed in this legal procedure are being ignored. The only law being applied here is the end justifies the means. The end being taking all of our community property away from us for free. The means being whatever it takes. Obstruction of justice, false imprisonment, barratry, violations of the Constitution, noncompliance with community property and private property laws, and total defamation of me by years of confinement, accusations, arrests, jail time, and trials, whatever it takes. And it's still continuing. This case should make every American want to spend their life working as hard as they can, investing all of their money in land, capital improvements, and etc., even dredging a lake, all for the profit, benefit, and well-being of someone else. Show me that law. I want a court order that documents deeds number 1181-375 and 118-1376 do not convey the community property of Joe and me into a corporation, and that I am not trespassing when I am on land that I own in valid deeds. Also, that the divorce case number C32819-6E is closed, dismissed, removed forever from the court's docket and all other courts. It's a great day to be an American. Thank you very much.
Next presenter is Marcela Alejandra.
Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Mi nombre es Marcela Alejandre. Soy miembro y voluntaria de la Unión Lupe. Mi presencia aquí se debe a darles las gracias para la oficina del comisionado Joseph Palacios. Ellos enviaron los contenedores de basura a mi colonia y gracias a eso pudimos hacer una diferencia. Ahora sí se ve muy limpio todo totalmente. También quiero agradecerles por haber enviado a su representante, Mary González, de la oficina del comisionado, el precinto 4. También tuvimos una cumbre en la Unión Lupe el sábado. Es una cumbre de colonias. Todo fue un éxito y muchas gracias. Gracias a todos. Buenas tardes.
Do you need translation?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Summarize it.
Well, her name is Marcela Quesada, and she's just here to thank everybody, especially Joseph Palacios, Commissioner Joseph Palacios, for allowing them to have containers to clean their colonia. They actually had two containers 2 days out of the week, and so she said that she's grateful to Commissioner Palacios for allowing them. Now the colonia looks much better. The other thing is that she wanted to thank the Commissioner Joseph Palacios for sending a representative to the Cumbre of Colonias this past Saturday, Mary Gonzalez, who did a really good job. Thank you for continue to be engaged with the community.
Thank you, ma'am. Next presenter, Virginia Townsend.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
I know y'all can't answer, so I'm just going to say something and see if you'll tell me later. Because do we consider doing business with local vendors, taxpayers? Important. I had somebody stop me last week and said, I'm a local vendor, but I don't even get a chance. And I just wondered if we put that anywhere in our things of importance, that they're a local vendor, would it be over somebody who is from out of town? I don't know if we have a policy. I don't know if we pay attention. I don't know if we even think it's important. But I think if I were sitting where you are, it would probably be up there somewhere as being important. And as I hear the young man talk about the Colonia and Mercedes, I'm sitting there thinking, this is the answer. Yes, we can keep on having bond issues and paying for drainage projects, because that's what'll get it done locally. What happens to the developer? What happens in Austin in the legislature when it's time to go and get a law on the books that says nobody develops in Colonia? Nobody develops colonias in floodwater places. Why is that hard? Yet, every time we even try it, the developers have a whole lot more money to put in for people to yell at the legislators than we who care about it. We can go and we can walk the halls and stay there, but they've got paid lobbyists, and they're there all the time, and they outdo us all to pieces. But you have to be able to go and convince the legislators this is not good for the poor people. And it's not good for the taxpayers who have to pay for the drainage systems. So it's not the answer to sit here and piecemeal it or watch their plans that make things look good. That's not the answer. But anyhow, and somebody suggested we should pay for our fee to the Border Coalition when Mexico decides to pay back our water. Yes. That would be good. A little leverage there. Huh? That might be good. I know it's only $11,000, which is probably nothing to these people, but it's a legitimate reason for saying, wait a minute, Mexico, you can show your good faith by paying back the water you owe us. Thank you.
Next presenter is Fern McClarity.
Good morning. On my phone today, I show each and every one of you, if you'd like to see it, it's a picture of one of the county-owned trucks and vehicles from the Sheriff's Department. And I've gotten emails about it, and my question is, do y'all think that texting is a wise thing that any employee that works for the county of Hidalgo and especially has one of the vehicles that they take home or they're driving at work, that they are able to text from their phone? It seems like we all hear that ding ding on there and then we go, oh God, we got to see what it is. I believe this wreck happened on Monte Cristo and Depot Road. Pretty busy road. Why in the world would you be texting? And by the way, the truck looks like they hit head on. The life, I understand that maybe no one got hurt this time, but what about today? What about tomorrow? Let's do something about this texting. It's bad enough they get on the phone and talk. We see them driving down the road. But to dare to bend down and start looking and using your thumbs to type something and causing a wreck that can kill every person that's out there, child, that when we have that, and you talk about a liability to the county, and I'd like to know who's going to pay for this truck. I understand that it was totaled. So I know we have insurance, but what is this going to cost the taxpayers to get a new truck? What would it have cost the taxpayers if someone would have gotten killed? And today we had children here. I was hoping they would stay a little bit longer. I wanted to ask them the projects they were asking about that y'all are doing with the county. I didn't hear y'all tell them that their parents are paying for it and that they will be paying for that wonderful courthouse and the different things. Their children will be paying for that courthouse that y'all think are so important. Y'all see these little guys, and I'm hoping they get a good education and get a good job, because what y'all vote for and they think are great projects, they actually pay for. So I wish every once in a while you'd let them know, because y'all look like good guys. They're here to see what the county did today. I would like them to know the whole truth, that it's because of y'all that their parents have to pay the property taxes that they do. Thank you.
Next presenter is Stephen Cruz.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. My name's
Morning,
Steven
sir.
Cruz. I'm the Director of Operations for Commissioner Joseph Palacios. I have a brief presentation regarding some of the projects that we're doing in the San Carlos area. I know there was a question or a concern regarding some of the projects that we're doing in that area. One of the original question, I think it was regarding the signs being up for such a long period of time. Just to answer that question, we put those signs up in advance notice to let the residents know of the construction coming, just for the traffic and, you know, as a safety precaution. We also send letters to each constituent, and in some cases we hold colonia meetings letting them know of this construction. This is a map identifying all the roads that we've paved in San Carlos. There's over 16 roads that we've paved since 2011. This is an equivalent of 10 miles, and 5 of these roads were actually fully reconstructed. Just to let you know, Judge and Commissioners, each road that you see here today was done in-house with our in-house crews. So we did, these 16 roads cost us $750,000 over a span of since 2011, which was a savings about 35% to our taxpayers. This is obviously a picture of the roads, some of the roads that we've done, where you can see our crews are doing the work. I want to talk about the drainage projects that we've done in San Carlos. One of the most recent projects that we've done is the Fike Pump. This is a project that we did with the cooperation of Urban County, where we were able to install a pump which will get the flow of the water from the colonias in North 107, and the neighboring colonias from San Carlos in North 107, and help that water flow and pump up to the Monte Cristo drain, which will eventually filter it out. This is the actual pump here. Also, a project that we did where we transitioned with Commissioner Garza. Commissioner Palacios transitioned as he came in and continuing the work that Commissioner Garza did. We continued the work in the Sunflower, which is our Dickerson and Aguilar ponds. These are 154-acre ponds that basically get all the water that comes from the Curry and Tex-Mex drains in San Carlos, the overflow of those drains. And this is a really cool picture. I want to show you from the 16 days straight of rain that we received. This just shows that those ponds are actually doing what they're supposed to do, and they're getting all the waters that have overflowed from those drains. This is most recently from the 16 days that we had of the rain. We are currently building a 70-acre park in San Carlos. Right now we're on phase 1, which is about 15 acres. The development of the park is going to include playground equipment, walking trails, soccer fields, workout stations, basketball courts, and a pavilion. This park is for the area of San Carlos, but not only the area of San Carlos, we have neighboring communities as well too. Edcouch, Elsa, Monte Alto, we have and La Blanca, which are all neighboring communities. So it's not just for the San Carlos area, it's for all those neighboring communities around there as well too. This project was also help funded through Urban County, and we're anticipating to have this park open by July 2014. This is the actual layout of the master plan of the park. Right now, we're currently on phase 1, which is the first part that you'll see. This is construction of the park that's actually underway right now. Also, what we're doing on that same property, we are building a new community resource center, which is about 8,500 square feet. The community resource center is also going to have a dual purpose. It will also serve as an emergency operating center in times of natural disasters or need, where we might need to house our staff there in case of emergencies. This facility will host many functions for the area of San Carlos and neighboring communities. One of the main functions that it hosts is our summer programs, which serves approximately over 200 kids from the San Carlos area. And this is actually, we're starting construction on this project. It's already underway. The anticipated date for this one is December 2013. So these are a list of all the projects that we're doing in the area of San Carlos right now. I know there were some questions regarding updating the constituents on these projects, so that's what I'm here for today, is just to...
If I may close, I'd like to give commendation to Commissioner Garza for the vision that he had for the San Carlos area. For most people that don't know, San Carlos has a residency of over 6,000 residents that live within the area that are documented, not knowing what the undocumented are. Most of our projects that we've done it with partnerships, through partnerships, utilizing Urban County. We appreciate everything that they do for us, as well as other partners that we have within the community. We continue focusing on the San Carlos area. Now, we figured that we start on drainage, infrastructure, roads, and now we're on quality of life. But these are some of the projects that we do have. I would encourage the general public, if they have any questions regarding any projects, to please contact us at 383-3112. We'd be happy to do an intake and address your need, or contact us at hcpct4.com. It's our website, and on the contact tab is an intake form. We'd be happy to hear from you and look at taking any concern you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Next presenter. Next presenter is Donald DeVries.
That may be me. My name is Donald Weary.
Weary. I apologize, Mr. Weary.
No problem, sir. A lot of people do that. My request is quite simple, sir. As you can see, I walk with a cane. I'm 84 years old, a winter Texan, and I have 2 artificial hips. So it's a little difficult for me to walk. Now, it used to be that when I had to go to the courthouse occasionally, that I could park in there. But they've changed the parking. They've closed that all off and put it, across the double street. That's fine. That's fine. But it's a long way from that parking lot handicapped area to the courthouse. And all I'm asking, sir, is that you take one of those 2 yellow benches that I see in the east side, along the side of the courthouse, outside. Take one of those and put it halfway down between the parking lot and the courthouse, so that somebody can take a break when they've got to walk that distance. Does it make any sense?
We can't involve ourselves in the discussion, but yes, you are making sense.
All right. Well, that's the only request I have, gentlemen.
All right.
And thank you very kindly for your attention. It is appreciated.
Thank you, Mr. Weary.
God love all of you, and you also.
Father, we do need a handicapped area for parking out there.
Duly noted, Judge.
All right, let's move on to item 6A.
Judge, if I may excuse myself, I have a session there at the university on a speech for some
All right,
veteran
sir.
graduates. Thank you.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Hilda Salinas with Hidalgo County Public Affairs. At this time, I'd like to present to you Elma Esparza, co-coordinator of the National Day of Prayer.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Good morning.
My husband would have been here, but he's feeling ill, so he asked me to come and accept the proclamation. First, this is our 17th year at the Hidalgo County Courthouse, and we are very appreciative of the fact that we can go over there and assemble tents and things like that for the National Day of Prayer. It is the 62nd annual event for the United States, and so here again, thank you for allowing us to be there. Judge, I know that you'll be there for the proclamation, probably about 9:30. We did add a lot of other organizations that have come together to help us have the event and turn out the way it is. Bikers for Christ and Forgiven Ministries have volunteered and donated monies to have tacos for everyone that attends at the Hidalgo County Courthouse East Lawn. So with that, and FCA and other organizations that have come together to help us put this event together, we're very, very appreciative for the opportunity to be out there. So thank you, Judge and Commissioners, for your gracious support. And we just want to invite everyone for Thursday, which is 2 days from now, to attend from 8 to 8, anytime, an hour, less than an hour, whatever, you're more than welcome. We're inviting the general public as well. Thank you.
I need a motion to declare May 1st, 2014 as the National Day of Prayer in Hidalgo County.
Second.
Those in favor say aye. 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 Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, item 7, Mr. Guerra.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. Judge, with that last presentation, I'm going to skip straight to 7C, which is related. Item 7C is request to use the courthouse open forum grounds for the National Day of Prayer event to be held on May 1st, 2014, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. As always, this is an annual event, and we do work with the Sheriff's Office, TxDOT, and the City of Edinburgh with respect to this event. Right.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 7A, 1 and 2, there's no action to be taken unless there's action to be taken further down the agenda. Item 7B, 1, 2, and 3, we'll have a full report next week. Item 7D, I'm asking authorization for the Judge Garcia to sign the TCEQ subscriber agreement, authorizing the county's environmental compliance coordinator to submit DMRs electronically to TCEQ for the wastewater treatment plant at Delta Lake Park in Precinct 1.
Approve.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item E, Judge Commissioners, I'm asking authorization for Ms. Longoria and Diana Cardona, and that would be Norma Longoria, to attend the 2014 ICLA, which is the International Lactation Consultant Association Conference, on July 22nd to the 26th of this year in Phoenix, Arizona.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge Commissioners.
Item 8, our constables. Precinct 3.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners, Chief René Gonzalez, Precinct 3, Constable's Office. Today, we're asking for approval for the appropriation of the 2014 Equitable Sharing Fund for Constable Precinct 3 Department in the total amount of $8,226.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B is approval for the appropriation of the 2014 investigative funds for Constable Precinct Department in the total amount of $4,033.
Approve.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item C, approval of the certification of revenues as certified by the county auditor for the 2014 Laos Fund for Constable Precinct 3.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Approval of the appropriation of the 2014 Laos Fund for Constable Precinct 3 Department in the total amount of $1,679.61.
For approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioners.
Item 9, County Court at Law, number 8.
Alde.
Judge, Commissioners, there's a request for the following requisitions and expenses to be approved in accordance with the exiting officials expenditure policy. This is an item or an issue that we've discussed in the last couple, 2-3 weeks. And so the amounts for Judge Cantu are $686.86. There's a request as well for Hilton Dallas Rockwell, $277.98 for lodging, and AO3 Enterprises, $4,709.40 for an audio system. The audio system is equipment for the courtroom. The lodging was for a criminal justice seminar, and as well as the mileage reimbursement criminal justice seminar at Rockwell, Texas.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge, Commissioners, item 10, Ms. Cortez is coming up to the podium. I do understand, or I do believe that there is a concern from the auditor's office with respect to a policy that we have in place. But if I may, this is we do this every year, and this is for the summer, and this is specifically for the parks section of Precinct 2. At this time, I am asking the court to consider and approve the request, because these are from this is our assurance that the individuals that are at the park, specifically the swimming pool, are overseen by trained, authorized lifeguards, and that's what they're asking right now, a creation of these lifeguard positions. And there would be temporary slots 37, 38, 39, 40, and 41. with the hourly rates attached, as well as slot an attendant 42 with its hourly rate attached. I do acknowledge and understand Mr. Eufrasio's concern, but I am asking the court to consider and approve the agenda item 1, 2, and 3, which would include the interdepartmental transfer and the revised salary schedule.
Mr. Guerra, if these positions are created every year for the summer,
right?
How come they're not added to the salary schedule? They need it every year.
Mr. Eufrasio, as we discussed in the past, we include, for the sake of, where's Sergio? We include some temp, or we include...
Temporary positions are not included in the annual budget.
Okay, but no, I'm talking about the number of slots.
Correct.
Okay, so there's room, I mean,
Is that same thing
We
for every
budget,
office?
we budget the money in our parks budget for these positions, and these positions are in compliance with any policy that the county has.
They're out of compliance. That's my issue, that the county policy prohibits creation of new positions.
Sir, the county policy that you referred to cites the budget amendment authority of the court to amend the budget only during emergency situations such as hurricanes. We're not amending the budget, we're simply adjusting the budget, transferring money within our parks budget, so we're in compliance with policies and procedures according to statutes.
Is the policy still in effect, Balde? Do you know?
I'm sorry?
Is the policy still in effect?
The policy is still in effect, but Mr. Eufrasio, by the court's action,
Okay. Well, I was just wondering, because he's saying that...
We
We are
adjust-
requesting approval of this item. Again, this will not affect future years' budgets.
Right.
We will work with Precinct 2, and we'll discuss
The
this
bottom line,
during
we
the
need them.
court.
I mean, you don't put those lifeguards out there, kids go out there, and it's gonna cost us a lot more than.
Right.
Yeah, they need it. That's what I was saying. If they need it, how come they're not
All right. Well,
budgeted every year?
we have a motion and a second. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
thank you, Judge Commissioners.
Item 11,
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
morning, sir.
Richard is in the Sheriff's Office, Hidalgo County, on behalf of our Sheriff, Eddie Guerra. Number 11A, authorization and approval to purchase through the State of Texas Surplus Property Program under Chapter 2175.001 of the Texas Local Government Code, Section 262.0249C, which are 1, 2008 Chevy Tahoe, 4, 2009 Ford Crown Victorias, and 7, 2010 Ford Crown Victoria Police Interceptor model vehicles for the total amount of $67,400 through requisition number 254659.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Under item number 2 is authorization for the purchasing department to issue a purchase order and county treasurers to issue a check made payable to the Texas Facilities Commission Department of Public Safety after the county auditor's review.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And thank you. And just for your information, there, it's out of actually asset forfeiture funding, not general fund, for the purchase. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Item 12, our tax office. Good morning, sir.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners, Paul Villarreal. I'm here to request approval for the interlocal cooperation agreement with to partner with the City of Alamo and Hidalgo County to consolidate the property taxes where currently we collect for this PSJ and also the county, but the city's doing it by themselves, so they agree to partnership with us so where we can have one tax statement and make it easier for our taxpayers to go to one location. So that's what I'm here for. I've been advised by our legal here that we might have to make a change on the statute, but hopefully, based on that approval and correction, you can approve it.
Change in the statute? or
I'm
what?
sorry, go ahead.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. We're in the process of finalizing our legal review of the interlocal. I do have one change that I need to implement into the interlocal. Otherwise, we would ask that the court approve it subject to legal approval. It should be, my review should be done no later than this afternoon.
Move for approval.
That's my motion. No, that's my second.
Subject to?
Those in favor,
Subject
say
to
aye.
legal-
Judge,
Aye, motion carries.
Judge, Commissioners, may I, Victor, Is the change substantial, or
No,
is it?
it's not substantial. It's a reference to the previous code provision. It's just changing it to the updated
Okay,
code
and the only reason I ask is if it was substantial, because I would recommend that we bring it back to court, but if it's not.
I will do that.
Okay, thank you.
All right. We've already voted on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir. Thank you, Paul. All right, item 13, our Health Department.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Eddie Olivares, Hidalgo County Health and Human Services. Item 13A, sir, is our Hidalgo Fit program. I'd like to acknowledge the direction we're going with this. Sergio Cruz and Flora and Angelica from the Employee Benefits Division have been very helpful, along with Hilda and Jackie from the Judge's Office and Mr. Longoria. I have Lauren, Robbie, and Brenda Salazar joining us here today as well that are assisting with all this. We have a committee that's formed together, sir, on this wellness component. We're really focusing in on looking at our employees' health and utilization of insurance and trying to look at getting that to some way or other to get it in check. A couple of the three major areas we're looking at, we're working closely with Mr. Gary Looney, who is our insurance administrator from the county, and working on establishing notifications to employees via our county Hidalgo Fit newsletter, where there's some programs that we've really encourage our employees to participate in. The first one is our cost estimator, which is, if you look on your Blue Cross card on the back, there's an 800 number where you could set up your internet account. And actually, there's a way that you could actually look and compare pricing of services throughout the county with different physicians, hospitals, et cetera. So, for example, we had a situation with an MRI recently where there was an employee who needed an MRI. One facility was charging $1,800, went on the cost estimator, and they were able to get it at $800, the same situation, same outcomes, but significantly less. What does that mean to us? What it means is that's our county taxpayer money that's being utilized, since we're self-insured, and therefore it saves the county money as well. So we're really doing that as well, working on 24/7 nurse line, where people could call the nurse line instead of going to the ER room. We encourage all employees to use that. And working through our Blue Access for Members program, which is through the internet as well. We've met with our precinct offices. We're meeting with them scheduled throughout this month, along with, we've already met with the Head Start folks. We've met with the Board of Judges to start meeting with their staff and encouraging these changes. In the month of May, we have the Employee Wellness Month that's taking part, that we're doing a series of events and activities at the precinct offices and through the county judge's office as well, where we're providing services to encourage a healthier lifestyle and better utilization of our insurance, and encouraging employees to take responsibility on how our insurance is used to decrease the costs that we have forward. I really have to acknowledge the hard work from Mr. Longoria at your office, Judge, along with Brenda and Lauren's efforts. They've really come a long way to make this work, sir. And we will be forwarding this information to you all as well. But I encourage all employees to look at the portal, at the portal site through our employee portal. There is a copy of our newsletter and information. Please follow through on that. I'm open to questions or comments from anyone in regards to this.
I understand that we may have the ability to have nursing services for our employees.
Yes, we're
24 hours a day.
Well, the nursing service is available already as far as on telephone, where you can call the Blue Cross Blue Shield nurse and be able to get questions, answers, concerns, and even some direction on what best course of action to take in utilization of our insurance. That is operational now, and that information is on the back of your insurance card, the 800 number. That is there already. So that could help us in some utilization costs and decreasing those costs.
All right, sir.
I'll move on to our next item, item B, is requesting approval to apply for a binational health council funding in the amount of up to, I want to make that real clear, up to $8,000. The funds to be used for Border Binational Health Week in 2014. This usually works out that if we get the $8,000, $4,000 will come to Hidalgo County and $4,000 will go to partners in Mexico that will work on a binational effort. So we're looking at upwards of $4,000 out of this grant. So there is no match. There's nothing involved. It's a small grant that Ms. Robbie applied for, and we were able to get that this year.
Move for approval.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
The next item is requesting approval to process the following invoices as a claim after auditing procedures are completed by county auditor. This is the amount of $1,366.96, sir, for some lighting systems that were installed in some of our animal control trucks. We had a PO in December, and the PO was actually operational. We followed all procedures, everything was in place. What happened was that job was not finished until January 5th. So they weren't able to complete the job till right after the new year. So therefore, we had to follow through on this. We recommended to bring this in January, and we followed procedures in accordance to auditor and purchasing. However, they've asked us to bring this back to court, and that's why we're doing this.
Approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Sir, under the next item, under Health Funding District and Indigent Health Care Program, sir, at this time, I do not have any report on that unless there's any questions on those areas.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good day, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 14, our Adult Probation Department. Mr. Patrick Valde, do you have information on that one?
Well, when we received this at the office, essentially what he's asking is approval of certification of the revenues that were certified by the county auditor. This is for their DWI grant program. That dollar amount is $18,960.60.
Approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
The subsequent item is the appropriation of the DWI grant program in the total amount of $18,960.60.
Approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 15, Urban County.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners.
Morning.
Good morning, Diana.
Our first item on the agenda is on behalf of the City of La Jolla, requesting consideration and action to approve a purchase order to OCL Enterprises LLC in the amount of $23,114.62 for a Parks and Recreational Facility Improvement Project.
Move for approval.
Recommend that.
Yes, sir, I do.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B is on behalf of Precinct 1, requesting approval of a contract extension with Leonel Garza Jr. and Associates for an additional 6 months to complete the appraisal reports for the General Land Office contract number 12406-000, 6453 DRS 210068. This is known as the Delta Area Connector East Lateral Project.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item C is also on behalf of Precinct 1, requesting the approval of a contract extension to HLH Appraisal Services for an additional 6 months. This is also related to the same General Land Office contract.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Our final item is on behalf of Precinct 1, requesting approval of the amendment number 2 to the existing contract for appraisal services with HLH Appraisal Services under the General Land Office contract for the Delta Area Connector. The amendment will increase the professional service contract from $22,950 to $23,400 for a total increase of $450.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 16, Elections Office.
Good morning, Amanda Valdez for the Elections Office.
Morning.
Approval of full contract services between Hidalgo County and the Sherryland ISD for their election to be held on May 10th, 2014.
Approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Approval of full contract services between Hidalgo County and the City of Mission for their election to be held on May 10th, 2014.
Approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Approval of full contract services between Hidalgo County and the Mission Consolidated Independent School District for their election to be held on May 10th, 2014.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Approval of full contract services between Hidalgo County and the City of Palmview for their election to be held on May 10th, 2014.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
E, approval of full contract services between Hidalgo County and the City of San Juan for their election to be held on May 10th, 2014.
Move for approval.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Approval of full contract service between Hidalgo County and the Progreso Independent School District for their election to be held on May 10th, 2014.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And finally, approval of full contract services between Hidalgo County and the City of Hidalgo for their election to be held on May 10th, 2014.
Approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 17, our Head Start program. Morning, Ms. Flores.
Good morning, Commissioners. Judge, we have several items. The first one is the presentation of the nutrition contest winners. Every year, we hold a nutrition contest to be able to help parents and children learn more about healthy nutrition. So we have first, second, and third places, and we have 2 classroom centers, 3 classroom centers in the east, in the west. Then we have 4 classroom centers and 5 classroom centers, 6 classroom centers, and 8 to 10 classroom centers. First places go to Monte Alto, McAllen 4, Western Road, Mission 1, Sullivan City, Alamo, and Mission 2. Second places go to Donna 4, Hidalgo, Progreso, Weslaco 1, Palmview 1, Las Milpas 1, Palmview 2. And third places go to UTPA, McAllen 5, Mission 3, Weslaco 2, Weslaco 3, Palmview 3, and Edinburgh 5. This is a great learning experience. We have a lot of parent participation, and all the foods and the meals are prepared, and demonstrations are given by our parents. And so I want to congratulate the winners and present that to you. No action is necessary.
All right.
The next one is the discussion and approval of the summer work schedule. Every year we come to you for a number of years to recommend a 4-day work week schedule. We have the staff involved in the process with regards to voting for the schedule, and we do have an hour for lunch, and so you see the voting that occurred there, and we have option 3 whereby we begin the 4-day week on the first week in June, and it goes with Fridays being closed, and it goes through the month of July when staff begin to come back from summer leave. And so we are recommending approval of the 4-day schedule for those days listed in the calendar.
Move for approval.
7 to 6?
7, beginning?
From 7 to 6?
Yes, from 7 to 6. Yes, sir.
Second.
All right, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. The next one is a review of our federal monitoring review back in January, and we are, of course, required to discuss this with you. The judge received a copy of, and our Policy Council chairperson did too, and we had a great review. We believe we really have done very, very well. We had one area of what we call a technical noncompliance, and I'll describe that for you. But a noncompliance, as defined in the report on page 3, indicates that a finding that indicates the agency is out of compliance with federal requirements, including but not limited to the Head Start Act, or one or more of the standards in an area or areas of program performance, but does not constitute a deficiency. Noncompliances require written timeline for correction and with technical assistance, and so we have 120 days to fix it. We believe we have fixed it, and today comes with that report. With the report comes also a letter of response. I want to call attention to that technical noncompliance which I'm talking about, and it is on page 7. It's under fiscal integrity. The reason we talk about it being a technical noncompliance is because along the way, over the last 15 years or more, the Office of Head Start has advised us that we can do what we did. And so I'm going to read a little bit on what they're talking about. It says that the matching or cost sharing having to do with 92.24, it says appraisal of real property, and then it goes on to talk about, in some cases under paragraph D and E and F of this section, it will be necessary to establish the market value of land or buildings or the fair rental rate of land or space in a building, and then it goes on to say that in these cases, the federal agency may require the market value or fair rental value be set by an independent appraiser, and that the value of the rate be certified by the grantee. And it goes on to cite that the grantee did not ensure that the nonprofit share, which we have to come up with 20%, and that's to the tune of about more than $6 million, recorded for use of donated space did not exceed the fair rental value of the land or building space or established by an independent appraiser. So the bottom line is that we have all this property that we have, some of it from the county, cities, and so on, and the use of that property, we've been able to establish a value by having a realtor appraise that. Now, we have done this in terms of having been advised by the Office of Head Start that we could do this, because it is property that has not passed on to be granted to the grantee or to Head Start. It's property that is loaned to us by rental, and so that value can be counted towards in-kind. Towards matching. So in all of this, we had the reviewer come in, and the reviewers are from the Washington office. The advice came from the regional office in Dallas, and the advisors were people in the finance department who manage our grant and our program specialists. When the reviewers came by, we went ahead and called them and said, this is being questioned, but along the way you have advised us that we can do this. And they sent an email indicating, yes, this is fine, we accept it. They supported us, but the Office of Head Start under the reviewers the reviewers disagreed. So we're pursuing it, and so to you comes the report, one, to accept the report, then of course to accept the response. And the response is that we went ahead and found another $3 million worth of other kinds of things like volunteer work, the salaries of personnel that are sent to our program. So we had plenty of money. The issue is not the amount that we have available. It's the fact that what we listed, what we booked, was properties that the Office of Head Start or the reviewer claims should have been appraised by an appraiser and not by a realtor. Well, anyway, in the process, this reviewer tells our finance person, it's fine. If you find something else to substitute for those $3 million that we're talking about, it'll be okay. The next day, he changed his mind, and he said, oh, no, it's already booked as my report, and it is to be recommended as a noncompliance. So we have those issues to resolve. We had what's called a risk assessment meeting over the phone, and we had representatives from the different offices, from the judge's office, from Commissioner Flores' office, from Commissioner Square's office, and we reviewed what we had done. The question still remains whether what we did, which we submitted, is going to be allowed or not, because when you really look at it technically, they're saying, well, what you claim doesn't have the appraisal, you need to provide the appraisals, which would cost us an arm and a leg, which we're talking about 17 or more properties that we might ask the different precincts to see if they're able to secure appraisals for those properties to help us in the process. And so that's our net, where we'll have something to fall on if indeed the other part is not acceptable, okay? So the first part on that is to present you the report and to tell you it doesn't have to do with services rendered. Our staff has done a great job with delivering services. It has to do with this technical part having to do with properties that we have that we claim as matching funds. And so as we look at the item here, I'm presenting to you the response that is on the approval having to do with the response to the item that we have listed here. And when we talk about the response, we talk about how we're substituting. Now, there's another part to this. The federal programs are able to have 90 days after the program closes in December to book entries. We booked this entry before those 90 days were up, which was March 31st. So we believe that we were in our right to do what we did and that it could be substituted and accepted. That's still a question related to that. We're pursuing it, as I mentioned to you, and we're taking up the steps that we need to take to be able to address it. The response is on the following item, which is item 44-130, and there's a letter directed to Helmke, who is our program specialist, And it says the first step is to correct the values used for the federal contribution for real property, land, and building as in-kind contributions. The amount is $3,228,635.09, and that we were substituting all kinds of volunteer work, take-home activities, salaries of staff that are sent to us. And the second part would be that in the future and going forward, that we would not include values that are not used, that would be used without having a professional appraiser. Although we believe we're correct in what we did because we were guided by the Office of Head Start to do so. So that's the response part. So we would need approval for the response part. And then the other part to it is that we are filing an appeal, and you also have a copy of the letter of appeal. In the appeal, we take the standard, and we go out there and look at the standard and what it refers to, and we believe that our interpretation is online. The Office of Head Start during that RAM, that risk assessment meeting, agreed that they would move forward and send it on to the Washington office.
Who are you appealing to?
We're appealing to the Washington office, to the director of Head Start at the Washington office, who is in charge of the monitoring.
Who is helping you with the appeal? Is it the civil section, Victor and Josie, or Steve Crane?
No,
or
this
your
is an
in-house?
administrative appeal. Okay? We've had Rick review it, and of course, we reviewed it with the Office of Head Start, who was supposed to give us guidance, and that's what happened during that risk assessment meeting. And so we've have the information, and the only thing that they had to add to it is to
Frankly,
direct it
that
to
is,
the...
you know,
Pardon?
what you're telling, at least on my part,
Yes.
I find it difficult to properly digest, you know, just listening to it. But if you were to give it to Yolanda or some, and maybe we can then use some of the lawyers that we have to get involved and digest it and summarize it and get to the issue pretty quick.
Okay, maybe I can
You don't
go
see
back.
any, you don't see any problem though, correct?
No, the part that is holding us here is that we wanted to submit our response, and the Policy Council approved our response, which is substituting the different funds for these funds that we had originally placed in there, which we've already done because we went ahead and booked them. Okay? That's part of it. The appeal part is for future reference, and we're not sure that they will overturn their determination, but it's not only our program, it's other programs that have been made to go out there and do appraisals. The second part is that we have to, if it comes to bear, they may just require and say, look, we're not accepting the $3 million that you're submitting, we're going to require that you do the appraisals for the ones you originally submitted. That's what we're working at. The appeal talks to the standard and the fact that their interpretation does not, we don't agree with the way that they have interpreted, the reviewer interpreted it.
But what you're saying is, all this time, they've been telling you that you were doing it right, and
Yes,
now
sir.
somebody changed their mind in Dallas, and you're going to Washington?
Well, somebody in Washington, the reviewer who came over, that's who reported this. Because we've been through 3 reviews, this is our 4th, and it had never been an issue, it had never been pointed out.
All
That's what we're appealing.
Everything was done the same, and then...
Yes,
All right.
yes. And that's where we are. The letters are there for your review, and as I mentioned to you, our interest, of course,
All right.
is...
Why don't you move on to the next item?
Yes. Well, I have the 2 having to do with the discussion and approval of the response, and the presentation of the I've already presented the report, but with this response is that appealed, and so we're asking for approval on item C, discussion approval of response, and the response is to substitute
All
what we
right,
have
then
substituted.
I would entertain a motion to approve item 17C.
So move.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Okay, then we had the presentation, and that does not require approval, it's the presentation of the finding.
Yes.
The noncompliance. Then the next item that we have is the end-of-the-year activities that are reported there for the month of May. You are invited to attend any of those that you would like to attend. They're listed there for your review, okay? No action is needed. The next one is the recruitment report, and no action is needed other than to let you know that we have recruited far more children than we will have vacancies for the following school year. Okay? Then we look to item letter G. Under item letter G, we have the discussion and approval to advertise, including approval of specifications for sealed bids for air conditioning, maintenance, and repair services. And
Need a
that would-
motion to approve?
Move for approval.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Okay. Item H is discussion and approval for Hidalgo County Head Start Program to exercise the option to extend for an additional one-year term the lease agreements for facilities under the same terms and conditions with the Columbus Club of Weslaco 2 Head Start Center.
Move for approval.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
I is discussion and approval of memorandum of understanding MOU between Hidalgo County Head Start Program and the University of Texas at Pan American. And this is the same agreement that we've had in the past, and we're asking for it to be approved again for this new year.
Move for approval.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Okay. J and K are very closely related. Under item J, discussion and approval of memorandum of understanding between Hidalgo County Head Start Program and, proposal to increase the enrollment of 3-year-old children in the FAR San Juan Alamo and decrease enrollment in other areas. And the other one is to accept the proposal of FAR San Juan Alamo to serve the 4-year-old in PSJA facilities. The first one needs to occur before the second one occurs, so K should be first. In this case, the superintendent approached us about wanting to expand services to more children in the district, and at this point, we were not able to move with that part where the expansion would include more children, except for doing what the district is asking us if we would do. What they want us to do is to place all the 4-year-olds that are in our centers. There's about 600, a little over 600 of those, a little over 300 of those children. And the school district is going to provide facilities in 4 elementary schools. They're going to provide 4 classrooms in each one of them. They're talking about 16 classrooms. And we would just take our program, and as it is, under our supervision and our administration and everything else, we just serve them in a school with a campus with other children that are in the elementary school. Of course, we would have to meet all the requirements that are necessary for us to carry on the program in a different location. But it's just a site that we would be changing. Several things came up in the discussion as to why it would be beneficial. One, the superintendent did express that there are some things that school teachers could learn from our program, and there are some things that our teachers can learn from the school program and the school setting to be able to serve children in the school setting. A very big plus with it would be the transition.
Do you
into
feel
school
there's a
setting.
need to have some kind of an interlocal agreement?
Yes, we'll come to you with the details of that
All right.
later. At this point is for us to be able to move forward to try to set it up, okay? And be able to see where we would go and trying to meet all the requirements that we have to meet and be able to get licensing and so forth, okay? In the meantime, there'll be some vacant classrooms that are going to be left in the settings where they're going to move children to the school setting. We're intending to relocate some slots from centers and facilities where there's different reasons for. Enrollment might be an issue. We have some issues in certain parts of the county in meeting our enrollment, and so our staff struggles to try to get the children in. Transportation, we don't have enough buses to transport everybody, so where we have issues with transportation, we're going to look at that. The cost of rental to some buildings is very high, and so we're also looking at that. And then, of course, we're looking at the condition of some of our buildings that are out there in determining if we relocate some slots and in looking at relocating slots from another part of the county to the FAR San Juan Alamo area. FAR San Juan Alamo has always had a very long list of children waiting. Edinburgh School District area has also had a very long list of children waiting. So doing this would mean that we would be allowed to proceed with the idea of trying to make preparations and finalize an interlocal agreement or memorandum of understanding with PSJA and meeting what we have to do
All right.
and looking at the.
We're looking at item K, is that correct?
Yes, yes,
We
item
need
K
We need
first.
a motion to approve to proceed with negotiations. Take out the word accept and add proceed with negotiations, since
Okay.
we don't have a document yet.
Okay, that sounds very good.
I would
Negotiations.
entertain a motion to that effect.
Yes, discussion of approval to proceed with negotiations with PSJ, Far San Juan Alamo's proposal to serve 4-year-olds in Far San
We
Juan
have a
Alamo.
motion to approve by Commissioner Cuellar. Need a second? Second. Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Okay. Would the next one be under the same statements? Approval to accept proposal to increase enrollment, or that just happens if the other one, if the first one happens, then the other one happens?
Proceed with negotiations on that one.
Negotiations also?
Yes.
Okay. Negotiate.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Item 18, our Public Defender's Office.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Jimmy Gonzalez, Public Defender's Office, along with Jennifer Narvaez. She's the Deputy Chief of the Juvenile Section for my office. We're at number 18A, discussion, consideration, and action to approve a resolution authorizing the submittal of an application for a new grant. We're applying for a grant for a multi-year grant in 2015 for a capital murder section to the Public Defender's Office.
Approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. Item A2, approval designate the county judge as the authorized official.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. You were going to look at the, well, I don't think you were at the meeting, but your office was going to tell us how much money we spend on a given year on and the average on capital murder cases.
We've been looking at that, Judge, with the auditor's office. There's some issues on how those numbers are actually reported. What we've done now differently is that we decided to expand what this office is going to do. With approval of the grant administrator for this program.
But to give the community an idea of the monies involved, how much is the average indigent defense fee paid to lawyers to represent indigent defendants in capital murder cases?
Capital murders, it's anywhere from $100,000 to $250,000 per case.
From 100 to 250?
Thousand, yes, Judge, and with this program.
And do they need 2 lawyers instead of just one? I believe the statute or some policy requires 2 lawyers.
Yes, Judge, there is 2, sometimes up to 3 attorneys per case, depending on the complexity of the case. In this program, we're requesting 2 attorneys with 2 investigators / support staff, and they can handle up to 6 capital murder cases each per year. So that's a potential of 12. I don't envision there being that many in this county. There hasn't been in the past, but we're expanding the role to include attempted capital murders, aggravated felony cases, and even these attorneys will be able to second chair to expand on the pool of cases and save the county money.
All right.
So we're working with that, and I've been working closely with Mr. Afrasio to get those numbers. And from what our discussions have been, that this office seems to be able to save the county some money in that regard.
It's a grant, an 80-20 grant, and then it starts decreasing.
That's correct.
And our share increases year after year, but it's kind of to help us get started and encourage us to get involved.
That's correct. In the first year, the grant covers 80%, the county covers 20. Second year, the grant covers 60, the county 40. And it goes to the 4th year, the county covering 80, the grant covering 20. The 5th year, there's no obligation by the county. They decide at that point that it's not cost effective, that the program can be eliminated. But if it is, it would continue on at 100%. Item 18B, Judge and Commissioners, the Juvenile Section. Item 1, discussion, consideration, and action to approve a resolution authorizing the submission of a grant renewal, for fiscal year 2015 for the discretionary grant program. On this program, this is the 4th year of the program, and at this point, it'd be the county covering roughly 80% and the grant covering 20%. Just for the court's information in this, we've been the prior years underutilized in this section. I have our numbers for the first quarter of this year, And right now, we're running, if the numbers hold, we're going to double our capacity of cases. I believe we were able to handle 500 cases. As of March, we're already at 293 cases. So if it continues, we'll be handling close to 900.
Come a long way in the last 3 years.
It's come a long way. Judge Contreras has been very helpful. Ms. Narvaez and her office is taking more cases, and we're saving the county money in that department also, Judge.
All right,
For approval.
as to both 1 and 2? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. May I be excused? Thank you.
Item 19, our auditor's office.
Judge, I'm asking for approval of certification of revenues for the Mile 6 West TxDOT project, and also the approval of the appropriation of funds, same project, in the amount of $100,926, 2666.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 21, Precinct 2.
Morning, Judge Commissioners. Raul Silguero representing Precinct 2 and Commissioner Tito Palacios. Item 21A, this is approval of right-of-way easement for AEP Texas Central Company for the purpose of providing electrical distribution lines to the new Precinct 2 maintenance facility.
Move for approval.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 21B, this is approval of closing documents for the purchase of real property from North Alamo Water Supply and Authority. And instead of county judge, we need to substitute Mr. Valdeguerra. He's authorized to sign and execute the documents, and his name is on the documents, Judge. I think it was a typo there. But authority for Mr. Guerra to execute the same for parcels 15 and 16 for the Minnesota Road from Raul Longoria to Cesar Chavez. These are some parcels that were pending from our Minnesota drainage project.
Move for approval.
Judge, we just received these closing documents and did a quick review and noted that there's some discrepancies in the description of the closing documents and the warranty deed.
Well, we would have to look at that and get back with your office. Those are the documents that we got from.
Right, no, we just received them and reviewed
Yes,
them. And there's
okay.
some discrepancies.
Okay,
so I don't
can
know.
we approve it subject to the
Subject to
resolution of those
correction.
discrepancies?
Any correction needed?
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right,
Move for approval with a correction.
and the corrections will be done by Mr. Crane or a lawyer?
I believe that was the title
Yes,
company.
the appropriate, yes, sir.
I believe that was the title company. They did that.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge Commissioners, item 21C, this is an interlocal between Precinct 2 and San Juan for the Eldora and the Sergeant Trevino Road projects. This is, one, approval of the certification of revenues as certified by the county auditor for revenues received from the city of San Juan for those projects, and two, approval of the appropriation of funds into Precinct 2 in the amount of $182,929.86.
Second.
This would be for 1 and 2.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge Commissioners.
What about D? You're not going to
What about Diaz and David?
I'm sorry. Precinct 2, various funds requesting approval to process the following invoices as claims with authority for county treasurer to issue payment after review, audit, and processing procedures are completed by the county auditor. This is Verizon Wireless. These are more the Department of IT to explain. I'm not sure. No? Well, you handle the phone. Is that under you? Yes, sir.
Verizon Wireless.
I think they were supposed to go under you.
I'm unfamiliar with these claims at this time. I would have to research why they're there, if you don't mind. I
You
really
want
don't want
to,
to.
no action until next week or something?
Yes, we can.
That's fine.
We should have time.
Yes. I think some of these should always go under you. I don't know why.
Okay. Yeah, I was unfamiliar.
Are
with
you in
this.
agreement, Raul, just to
Yes, sir.
pass them to next week? All
Well,
right,
we'll
no
we'll have
action.
them next week, and so Mr. Renan can have a chance to look at them, and so we'll take no action on that, Judge.
All right, thank you, John. Item 23, Budget Office.
Morning, Judge Commissioners. Sergio Cruz, Department of Budget Management. Item 23A is approval of appropriation of funds in the amount of $2,000 from the Courthouse Security Fund, Fund 1241. This is for the purchase of security supplies and equipment.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners.
Thank you. Item 24, purchasing.
Marty?
Marty.
Martha Salazar for the Purchasing Department, 24A1, requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under the Texas Local Government Code 262-024A7A, proprietary software in connection with online research services for Hidalgo County. May I have the exemption, please?
Move for,
Need a second? Was that a second?
1A.
It's an exemption for from competitive bidding. It's an exemption from competitive bidding.
1A.
24A.
24A, 1A.
This is for a sole source declaration for the sheriff's office. Well, it's actually countywide, but we're going to commence with 2 departments.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item B is requesting approval of agreements, if applicable, for online research services with LexisNexis, including but not limited to the following departments, commencing with Sheriff's Department and Public Defender's Office.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item B1 is recommending award for WIC of bid and approval of contract document to sole responsible vendor of submitting the lowest bid, StanBio Incorporated, and meeting all specifications and requirements for purchase of microvets.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item C1, Precinct 2, requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code 262-024A4, a professional service.
Move for,
Voting. All right.
Precinct 2 is going to abstain from.
move for approval.
I'll second that. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item B
One
would-
abstention.
Item B would be the presentation of the scoring grid for the purposes of ranking of the firms graded and evaluated through the county's approved pool of architectural service providers. Millnet 88, ROFA Architects 96, and ERO at 97. The court wished to rank them in the order of their scores.
Move for approval.
And second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. All right, can you, before we vote on it, can you let us know who did the scoring?
This is done through the precinct itself, the user, the end user.
Version 2?
And it would have been through Mr.
Staff, from the precinct staff under my responsibility, Judge, we rotate the scoring
duties.
between the people that work in the office. It was one by one of our staff members.
All right. We have a motion and a second, and I believe one abstention.
Correct.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item C is authority for purchasing to negotiate a professional architectural services contract commencing with the number 1 select ranked firm of ERO.
Move for approval.
Second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item 2 is requesting
Commissioner Cuellar and myself voting aye, and Commissioner Tito Palacios abstaining on item C, 1A, B, and C.
Correct. Item 2, requesting acceptance and approval of work authorization 6 with an estimated cost of $7,197.14 as submitted by Robert Kistner Incorporated, contract 351 for construction material testing services for the Gerhardt Drive paving and drainage improvement project.
Move for approval.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item 3 is requesting acceptance and approval of work authorization 7 with an estimated cost of $7,592.70 as submitted by Robert Kistner Incorporated, contract number 351 for construction materials testing services for Precinct 2's Moore Road paving and drainage improvement project.
Move for approval.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item D1 is for Precinct 4, acceptance and approval of processing of payment application number 1 in the amount of $9,653 as submitted by Alpha Building Corporation in connection with Lynn San Manuel Beautification Project, Cement and Stonework Turnkey Project, PO number 703552, with authority for the processing procedures to continue.
Move for approval.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 2, requesting approval of final negotiated professional engineering services agreement with Half and Associates for building repairs, renovations, alterations, or additions to county-owned buildings on an as-needed basis. I need approval.
Move for approval.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
B is approval of supplemental agreement 1 to work authorization 1 for the purposes of subcontract under the current contract with TEDSI Infrastructure Group for a job-specific project, Monmac Road for Hidalgo County Precinct 4.
Move for approval.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item C is requesting approval of supplemental agreement 1 to work authorization 1 for the purpose of subcontracting under the current contract with TEDSI Infrastructure Group for job-specific project Roosevelt Road for Precinct 4.
Move for approval.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
That is all I have. Thank you.
Item, at this time pursuant to Section 551071 and 072 of the Texas Government Code, I would entertain a motion to proceed to executive session.
Move for approval.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. It's now 11:27. All right, we're back in open session. Item 26, Mr. Guerra.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. I'm sorry, let me just,
There's no action needed on under A.
yes. You are correct. There's no action under a real estate acquisition. Under open session, pending and/or potential litigation, there is no action. Under item C, open session, civil action number 714-CV-00067, Santos Rodriguez Jr. et al. Versus Hidalgo County Sheriffs et al., City of Mission et al., and other unknown persons. Judge, Commissioners, I'd like to put on the record and for the court to consider action in settlement of this case in the amount of $150,000.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge, Commissioners, for the record, I do want to state that there is insurance money that is attached to this settlement. I'll make sure that the county auditor's office does get the appropriate documentation so that when we arrive at the proceeds and settlement of this
And
case.
while we may only have the name of Santos Rodriguez, we're in effect settling 4 claims made by 4 individuals.
Yes.
Do you have a breakdown, Valde?
Yes, I will, yes, you will get that breakdown, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. Item D under open action, open session, civil action number 714-CV-0201, Nita L. Labudi, individually and as personal representative of the estate of Paul William Labudi versus Hidalgo County et al. We'll just proceed as directions. There's no action to be taken at this time. And the claim of AT&T, Judge, Commissioners, I'd like settlement authority to make an offer in the amount of $2,277.52.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item F, claim of Candelario Hernandez, Judge, Commissioners, I'd like settlement authority to make an offer in the amount of $1,295.37.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge, Commissioners, there is no need to go back into closed or open session.
Need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.